regards to Dillian Whyte's situation with Tyson Fury, Frank Warren, again, in the interview that we've done with him just over an hour ago, said that Tyson Fury's plans are Wilder in a trilogy bout and then go into the fight with Anthony Joshua. Now, if that is the situation, even though the WBC have Dillian Whyte as the mandatory challenger, if Tyson Fury wants to fight Dillian Whyte, he's going to fight Anthony Joshua, provided the fact he comes past Deontay Wilder. Would WBC be okay with that? Would the WBC strip Tyson Fury? Would they make him franchise champion?
I'm not going to respond on speculations. You know, more fights outside the ring, inside the ring. And promoters get talking, they get anxious, they get excited. And press love that. Of course, that makes stories, and then it starts building up, and everyone gets angry, and then everybody starts screaming. We have rules and regulations. I've stipulated the WBC's position countless times that be viewed at the convention and confirm what is the status and what I go by.
Just before we get to that, just so you can outline it, again, I know that we've had this conversation. What would be the WBC's ideal scenario with regards to the heavyweight division and the mandatory status?
Well, look, this is my problem with Mauricio. He says, I'm not going to comment on something that's speculation, okay? Because he says a lot of promoters like to talk. They like to talk shit. That's true. But then he's like, you already heard, someone gave you a scenario that you could enforce. And the first thing he does is, oh, I'm not going to comment on it. No, that's not how you run things, being a president of a sanctioning body. This is what he should have done if he had any fucking balls, okay? Mauricio should have said, okay, if he said that, okay, based on what you're telling me, if he said that, we're going to have to do this based on our rules and regulations. Okay, so if that's what he's saying is true, if they're trying to push this fight a certain time frame, right, or he's not going to fight Dillian Whyte because he wants to go ahead and fight Anthony Joshua, he will be doing it without the WBC belt. That's simple. That's simple. That means we will strip him because we've already made it clear, okay, with our rules and our regulations that Dillian Whyte will get his opportunity. Fuck your super fight right now. You have to do what you're supposed to do according to having the belt. And that's been the problem with Tyson Fury since day one. Ever since he got it from Klitschko, he gets stripped from this. He loses those belts for that. Okay, so he never defended anything. So now you're saying, okay, well, now you're telling me he has the WBC belt and he's trying to not fight the mandatory or trying to push the Deontay Wilder fight and then trying to go to another fight after that. And then you guys do nothing about it because you know you have a fighter that's fought his ass off to be where he's at. And you do nothing to help him to get his justice for something that he deserved, that he fought for. That's my problem with Mauricio. He's just saying, I'm not going to comment. No, you should comment based on what you heard. Okay, if it's speculation, well, if someone's saying something, there's promoters are saying something. And think about it. Think about this, people. The promoters, Bob Arum, Frank Warren, Al Heyman, Shelley Finkel, and whoever else is on Wilder's team, right? These guys came together with a contract, right? So the contracts is ruling everything around here, okay? So it's up in here that's what's digging, that according to Mauricio, he's saying they have their own thing. So if they're speaking, that means they're speaking with authority because they are the ones that contracted the money between each other. You just are the president of the belt, right? But you can control where the belt goes according to what those fighters do or decide to do. If they decide not to do what you told them to do, you strip the belt from them. It's simple. Let me continue.
It's a ruling. Fury to do his contractual obligation against Wilder, and the winner fights the mandatory defense, the division.
Any undisputed fight, that would be the ideal scenario.
You're trying to get something out of my words. I'm not going to say anything.
No, I understand that, you know, scenarios and situations change, particularly on the eve of the convention. I understand that. But as it stands at the minute, from my speaking to you as regularly as I do, I would imagine the scenario at this point is Wilder 3 happens in December. Obviously, after White Povetkin, Dillian White wins that. Faces the winner of Wilder Fury 3, ideally before February, if that can be arranged and that can happen. And then another undisputed fight would happen after that. That's how I would imagine it to be from the WBC's point of view.
That's the way it's written. That's the way it's ruled. Yes, correct.
So, if you know that, again, that's what I'm talking about. It's written, meaning it was ruled, okay? They ruled something and then they wrote it down to enforce it. Simple. So, why are you're not getting anything from me? What are you talking about? All you have to do is go by what the rules say that you ruled on, okay? And that's that. Let that be that, okay? Say what you feel and stop being chicken shit. Again, it's ridiculous how Mauricio, I mean, I understand him being a politician. He's in a certain position. He says certain things, but he's like, you're trying to stretch my words. No, he's just trying to get an understanding out of you. You're sitting there listening to a guy that's explaining something that you're supposed to already know. So if this shit turns upside down and you guys have a ruling or whatever, and then something happens that doesn't go along with that ruling, we should have a problem. And that's something, again, he has yet to mention. What happens if it doesn't go the way it was written? If White knocks out Povetkin, beats him, then Tyson Fury beats Wilder, then what happens after that? He says, well, that's how it was written, that's how it was ruled. Okay, well, what if that does not happen? What do you do? If Tyson Fury decides, no, I don't want to fight Dillian White, I want to fight Anthony Joshua, what do you do then? That's the problem, okay? That's the precise problem with this interview and this guy being interviewed, Mauricio Sulaiman, okay? Let me see what he says after that.
Go. See, I wasn't trying to trick you. Okay, Mauricio Sulaiman, always a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much, as always, for your time. Looking forward to seeing every...
Anyway, he's done. In this case, if it's ruled, he should stay how it's ruled, but I think the WBC, and they should, the WBC has to have consequences, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to get people to mind or obey what you've ruled. If they don't, based on their star power, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. But fine, they should do it without your belt. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work. And yet, we haven't had anyone like Mauricio Sulaiman to enforce that at all. But talk a good game, try to please everybody, but it doesn't work that way because one person is doing something contrary to what you ruled or your committee ruled on what's supposed to happen. But anyway, this is my second volume of this particular interview. I just had to counterpunch the rest of this fuckery. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.